Hello, this is Cuckoo. Today I want to show you this. This is the Keith McMillen's K-Mix. It's a mixer, it's an audio interface, it's a MIDI controller. And frankly, there's quite a lot of things to cover, so I think I'm going to have to break it down into several videos. And so what's so special about it is it's very, very, very compact. For an 8-channel input, 8 channels out, and actually there's 10 channels out if you count the headphones output that could be accessed through the computer as a separate output. So there's no moving parts in it, which makes it extremely durable, and the enclosure itself is very, very sturdy, and I wouldn't recommend running a car over it, but I've seen videos where they run cars over their products to showcase how sturdy they are. So it's built to be rock solid. Throw it in your backpack and go. You know, it's a great product. Really, really nice. Solid, and cool. So let's try it out and see how it works. Okay, so here it is, the K-Mix, and the surface is a bit rubbery, so I think there's some sort of rubber coating on top of some very hard, I don't know, composite, carbon fiber, I don't know, probably some metal behind it. It feels very sturdy, and these are not as sticky as you'd think. These are very slidable, and these too. These are rotaries, these are sliders, these are buttons. So this is the back of the unit. The inputs 1 and 2 are for microphones or different things. These can be phantom powered, and these 3 through 8 are normal 1/4-inch cable sized. And you can see here there are 2 USB ports, one standard USB mini, and what's this called again? Micro? Not sure. This is the one you plug into the computer. It says audio. This is if you want to run it in standalone mode without a computer, you need to give it some USB power. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to plug it in, and it comes with all the different connectors. I'm in Europe, so I use the European one, and I have a habit of typing on each adapter the name of what it is, because I've got so many adapters, and suddenly I don't know what is what. So it says here it's DC 5 volt 1.5 amperage. They specifically tell you to use the one that they provide, but this is very typical for a USB power. So if you lose it, or if you come to a place where you don't have it, I'm sure you could just use an iPhone charger or something, provided that it has 1.5 amperage. Okay, and yeah, just a USB cable, you know, there's nothing fancy about it. So there you go. So this is the USB mini. I'm sure that has a proper name, but this is a bigger of the smaller. So I put it in here in the controller. I'm gonna run it without a computer now. Okay, it's plugged in. I press this power button. It lights up, blinks a little bit, it boots, and then you're on. And this is a very, very bright room. I've got a window in my ceiling, so this is not the best room to showcase this. So right now I'm just, taking the mixers, and these are very light. It's not very much pressure required. It's not very sticky. They're very nice to the touch, very slidable. And there is a way to mute and unmute. So right now, if these are in full force, if I press shift and the lower part of it, they mute. You can see them dimly lit, but not as brightly lit. And if I unmute them, you can see them lit again. Yeah, I was afraid that I was gonna not even see them in this condition, and this video is gonna be horrible, but I could quite clearly see the light. Yeah, sorry about it. I just turned it on and suddenly we're twisting stuff. But right now we're in main, and so what could we do here? We could, for instance, I'm just gonna turn everything down, and connect my speakers. So these are going to a pair of Neumann. I forgot the name of them. So I'm just gonna put them in here in the main. So one, is that left? Yeah, and two, and right. So right now there's no way for me to make a sound, so I need to connect something. For instance, this one. This is probably a good way to show how the size of the whole thing. It's very compact, it's very nice. Okay, so let's plug this in. I've got a little cable here. I'll plug it in here, and let's say 3 and 4. See what happens. So just play it here and see. I don't record the direct sound, it's just through the speakers, okay? So we got the master, and we can hear there is volume, but we can't see it. But if we press this little button, the VU, we've got a visual indication of where the audio is coming in. So we can see on this channel there is audio. And depending on what I had said it earlier, you know, it's all going to be different. So let's check out the settings now. I'm just going to go to what's called trim, and I can see that if I turn off the VU again, I can see the trims of every track. I'm going to turn the trims down here, and I'm using these two. I'm going to pull them up a bit like that. Okay. Now I'm going to turn on the VU again, and I can see that I'm coming into the red area, and that means trouble. There might be some distortion going on if it's up in the red. I'm going to pull it down a bit. Yeah, something like that. And then I'm going to go to main again. And the trim, this is where I set the input volume. Yeah, so the input volume is the same now. Out of main, I can start mixing and doing stuff. But I know that because I used this before, right now these have different settings on them. So channel 3 is right now a compressor, and this has not a compressor. So let's check out the compressor settings. I go to the compressor, press the track that I want to check out. I can see that this parameter is jumping, and this is the gain parameter. So if I go, otherwise they seem virtually the same, slightly different there. So if I go to this one and turn on the gain again, they should be almost the same. Okay, main again, and play on this guy. So now I can't even hear it. So let's start mixing them. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure you can hear it, but I can hear that both of them are in mono. So if I want to set him up as a stereo couple, I go into the panning page. So I can see that there is some change there, and this is quite clever. If I'm in the panning mode, this is the master out, the master panning, auxiliary 1 panning, auxiliary 2 panning, auxiliary 3 panning. So I could set up different panning modes for each outputs. So right now in the master, I want number 3 to the left, number 4 to the right. And this guy I don't care about because nothing is going out into auxiliary 1. I set it to middle. Okay, so now let's see if it's in stereo in fact. And yeah, now this one is coming to the left and this on the right. So now it's in stereo. Yeah, let's try the EQ. Just do the EQ. I do it on one track. I do it on this one. Just pan it to the middle again. EQ. So we got low, got the low, yeah, we got mid, we got mid frequency, we got high, and when I press shift, like turn up the high, it's the high frequency, and this one is the mid, what do you call it? Yeah, the width, the bandwidth. This one is the low. Yeah. Yeah, it's an EQ. It's pretty okay. One thing that I should mention is that once you've got this on the computer, it's much more easier to be precise, to be, you know, specific about everything. And I find it easier to use on a computer in some respects, to set it up, you know, carefully plan it all out. But you could do these things on the board itself. Okay, so let's see how the reverb works. See if it works. Press the verb button, and now every channel has their own reverb send. So if this is playing now and I send reverb, you can hear the reverb, right? But if I turn off the VU, we can see that this is the master reverb volume. So if the master reverb volume is 0, you know, you're not going to hear it. Yeah, I find the reverb to be, it's not the best reverb in the world. Certainly, it's useful, but I find it a bit. You can hear the diffusion, you can hear the grains a bit too much for my taste. But for some instruments, it works perfectly fine. But for vocals, I feel like, yeah, I'd rather have a better reverb. You could change some aspects of the reverb, like pre-delay, damping, diffusion, I usually put it at maximum. I think it's the best way. And the length, the decay time. Now it appears to me that there are actually just 3 settings of decay time currently. Very short, quite short, long. You hit this point where it actually cuts out, and it behaves differently. Yeah. Yeah, so the reverb is there. So if I would like to connect an external effect, you know, this is perfect for that because there's so many outputs. So let's, for instance, connect this delay from Strymon. Yeah. So I put it here and put the input into which, yeah, let's say auxiliary port number 3, output number 3. So how to get stuff out there? And how to get stuff in? Well, in is simple. It's just connected like this. Dish. And you pull it up. So right now, in number 5, yeah. So right now there's nothing coming in. But if we're going to in main mode, we set the mix for the main output. In auxiliary 1, we set the mix levels for the auxiliary 1 ports. So it's just the same. It's just the same. It's very simple. So right now, for instance, if I want to send stuff out on auxiliary 1, and right now I want to send number 3 out onto auxiliary 1, and the master of auxiliary 1 also has to be up. You could hear that, right? So right now it's going out, it's sending out the level here, and if we go back to main, we can see we're also receiving this. Yeah, so there we go. We've got a nice delay now. So basically, any track could send to port 3 now. And one thing that you need to be careful about is that, there are 3 auxiliary outputs, but there are 6 ports. So which port is being used, it depends on the panning. So port 3 is probably the left, port 4 is probably the right. So if I go into auxiliary again here, all we can see is the volume. So how do I know which one is getting it? Well, if I go into panning mode, I can see there are separate pannings for each output. Main, auxiliary 1, 2, and 3. Very, very nifty feature. So I'm sending out stuff, and I'm on channel 3. Channel 3 in auxiliary 1 is on the left side. Yeah, if it would be on the right side, it would be out in the empty port. There's nothing connected. So this is important to pay attention to. Yeah. So what else? Yeah, this is not only a mixer. You can also use it as a MIDI controller. Or you have to connect a certain device to get the MIDI port out, but you could do this. Shift. You can see this little diamond here. It says mix 1, 2, and 3. Mix is the mode we're in right now. It's in the mixer mode. And if I go into shift and 1, it's in one of the MIDI modes. The 3 MIDI modes are just the same, but there are 3 memories for 3 different setups of MIDI states. So in one, we could be using this to control something through MIDI, and maybe these are, like this, and it's controlling something, some synthesizer or something. And then if I go into MIDI 2, this could be controlling an EQ maybe, or something else, and whatnot, And MIDI number 3 could be controlling something else, So, and it remembers these states. So essentially you got 3 MIDI controllers as well, and then back to the mixer. And of course this works while it's mixing. So all the audio is processed on the fly and all that, even when you're in the MIDI modes. So yeah, that's really interesting. I just want to keep this short for today to give you an example of how to just connect it all together without a computer, start mixing and doing some simple operations like mixing, some EQ and some stuff like that. It's very simple, but it's important to connect to the computer because there are additional features with a computer. Okay, so if we're happy with this now, this is going to be our setup. We could go into the presets and hit Shift and press any of these buttons where we want to store it. So 12 slots for storing presets. Shift and G, for instance, that's going to be my slot. And if I want to recall any of these, you just press preset and press one of those states. G is the one we've been working on now. Main has been, yeah, it's very loud. And G again. Okay, we're back. This memory is saved on the unit itself, and on the computer you can have an even longer list of more than 12, but if you're operating this without a computer, this is what you've got, 12 slots. Yeah, this is the headphones output. It's sending out the main mix to the headphones, but if you press, while you're in headphones, if you press auxiliary 1, you can monitor auxiliary 1 there, auxiliary 2, auxiliary 3, the different mixes, and you could even monitor just one channel that you choose. Select like it. You know, I hate to say something bad about this because I really like it, but one thing that I do find a bit frustrating for me is that the headphones output right here is a little bit on the weak side. I'm using these, is Biodynamic DT770 Pro 80 ohm, and these require some power to be powered correctly, and it's a tad on the low side, I'd say. Keith McMillen has told me that they are working on different ohm outputs, whether or not it's going to improve the volume to the level that I'm used to remains to be seen. We'll see, but they are aware of it, and it's a digital operating system that will see software updates. So, but it's powered by just one USB cable, so I totally understand if there are limits to how strong signals they can send out on all these ports. I totally respect that, and so it's still awesome. It's still great. So who is it for? Well, I'd say it's for everyone, really. If you're a super high level engineer, you're probably going to look for high level stuff. It costs like, I don't know, 4 or 10 times as much as this. But if you're on the road, if you got a modular, if you want to mix some modular stuff, 8 channels, and you know, manage the volumes and maybe even some EQ and stuff, it's really good. It's really good. If you have a small band and you want to pre-mix your stuff on stage, it's excellent. If you're a one-man operator and have, you know, lots of gears, great little companion. And you know, if you're like me, you just have too much stuff in your small space, you're always looking for small, smart solutions, and this is a really good thing for me. A small mixer, also a good audio interface with good converters, very nice for a guy like me. Yeah, I could recommend it. Now this is just a short little video about how to get going without a computer and how to connect it all together, you know, how to operate it basically. But I'd say this again, connect it to the computer, because then you've got more settings available. Some settings that are not available from the unit itself can be set through a computer app that comes with it. So do that, because sometimes you might want to access some of those features, and when you set it up and store it, you can still store it in a preset, and then it's there, you know, for offline use. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Keith McMillen is the man, K-Mix is the boss. This is Cuckoo, and by the way, if you like the videos that I put out, sometimes you find them helpful, please consider throwing in a little donation here and there. I set up a page, an account on something called Patreon, and there is an info button around this area somewhere where you can click it, go to Patreon, and set up an amount that you want to donate every time that I come out with a video such as this, like a tutorial, a jam, an interview, or something like that. And then you can set up a monthly limit, so you know that maybe you want to support me with $2 a video, but never more than, for instance, $6 a month. You could do that. It's totally optional. It's only for the ones of you who feel that you want to support me. There is a way to do that. The video is still going to be free, but for my patrons, there's going to be downloads occasionally, samples, packs, and patch packs and stuff like that for just the ones who support me. So if you're into that, it's a good way to get it. And I've said this a number of times, but I've been working on animated film for a long time, and it's so close to getting done now. It's very close. The only thing remaining is the Norwegian voice cast to be set. The Japanese version is done, but the Norwegian voice cast is not done. So I'm working on that right now, and also the final sound mix is being worked on right now, and it's so close to being done. And when it's done, I'm gonna be Cuckoo full time, and then I hope to produce much more of these helpful tutorials and insight videos of different things. So I'm really looking forward to that, and it's very close now, very close. So yeah, if you like to support me in doing all this, please consider throwing in a couple of bucks here and there. It's really helpful, and everyone who does that, all of my Patreon supporters, about 350 of you already, I can't tell you enough how thankful I am. I would like to name all of you right here, but because of privacy, I don't want to. I don't want to write all your names. I'm gonna have to ask you first for permission of that. But each and every one of you, lots of love from me. It really means a lot for me that you have chosen to support me. Thank you so much. I hope I could do justice by making more of these videos, and yeah, thank you so much. This is Cuckoo. Stay cuckoo, everybody. Stay curious. Ask me questions. Comment in the comment field. Hit me up on Facebook channel. Follow me on Instagram, where I occasionally make smaller videos and stuff. It's all very nice to see people comment and to engage with you. Yeah, cool. See you soon. I'm gonna make more videos with a K-Mix, more in-depth videos, and more recordings of the actual sound of the unit itself. And I don't know if I can compare it. Yeah, I could compare it to my other one. I've got a Zoom H6. I could compare recordings with the Zoom to see what it sounds like. It could be interesting to see how different amps and different converters handle the sound, right? Yeah, so that's it. Keith McMillen, K-Mix. Really good. See you soon.